Hey everyone, it's Cash Muller for another edition of TSN. Today, you're going to be witnessing probably the first ever mock draft formulated, calculated, and put together by a teenager. So what gave me the idea to do a mock draft? Well, I was just watching SportsCenter on ESPN the other day, and I thought, if all these big NFL analysts have a mock draft, why can't I have a mock draft? So you're going to be watching how I view my draft, and here you are. This, I'm pretty sure this makes it official. Cash Muller's mock draft top 10 1.0. Anyway, it's not an official mock draft, but we're going to roll with it. So, as we all know, the Tennessee Titans currently own the number one pick, but I, like many other analysts, are predicting that the Giants will trade up to number one, so that's who I have at number one. Giants, they need anything, really, but they really do need a quarterback. And there are some pretty good quarterbacks available. You have Quinn Ewers, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and Jackson Dart. I think that the quarterback that would thrive well in New York, Shedeur thought about going there. I personally, as a CU Buffs fan, would not be incredibly stoked to see Shedeur go to the Giants. Their O-line is not quite there yet. So I will definitely say the line for New York, it needs to improve because Shedeur was frazzled under even a fine offensive line. He just holds the ball too long. He's got to have a good O-line. I think the person who the New York Giants will draft at number one will be Cam Ward from the U. Cam Ward, fun fact, if you didn't already know this, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders share the same quarterback coach, which is pretty cool. I do think Cam Ward's a great quarterback. He was good. He was good when he was at Washington State. He was good at Miami. He was good at wherever he went. So I do think Cam Ward, this is a very good player, and even wherever he goes, he's going to be a good quarterback. The number two pick belongs to the Cleveland Browns. Now, some people have Shedeur going to the Browns, but I would say that might be on the list that Dion and Shedeur have laid out. Do not go there. Say players go to Cleveland to have their careers back. That's pretty much how it is. But then they get traded, and then they burst out into color. I think the only player that is good enough right now and will stay good enough despite the Browns' problems is the one and only Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, he's an elite player, maybe the best person to ever play football in history. I talk about him in one of my YouTube shorts. You should go check it out. Travis Hunter, like I said, he's a great player. He's good wherever he goes. And it's good wherever position you put him. I think I would put him at both ways. But in the league, I think a lot of people have doubts if he's gonna if he's gonna struggle in the league. I don't think he's gonna struggle. I think he will thrive in the league. So I think he will go number two to the Browns. The 3 pick via the trade with the Giants, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, I don't really know. Last year was a just bad year for them. They went from being one of the top teams in the league to being the number one pick right now. They have a really good defensive line, and I think that they can develop that defensive line into a formidable force, but what they need is a quarterback. So guess who's going to go to the Tennessee Titans? The Titans have already expressed interest in Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur is going to the Tennessee Titans. Shedeur, he's a great quarterback. I feel like people just don't give him enough credit for how good he is. He is a absolutely great quarterback. I'm sad to see him go, but Juju's going to be good. Shedeur, he's a great quarterback, but he does struggle under pressure. But he also just holds the ball too damn long, so he's got to fix that. That's one thing he's got to do. I think that the Titans have a really good chance of getting Shedeur as of right now. The 4 pick is New England, and the Patriots just imploded last year. Let's just say that. And they play in a hard division. They got to have a good team to compete. I see promise in Drake May. I think he's a good quarterback. Mike Vrabel, he's a great coach. One of my favorites. Mike Vrabel, he's a good fit there. He was a great coach at Tennessee until Tannehill decided he was gonna go down the hill. So, but I don't think that they will draft an offensive player. You know what I'm going to think? I think they draft a defensive player, and it is going to be Abdul Carter. Listen, that foot injury is going to affect his draft stock. I don't know. I mean, he could drop significantly in the rankings, but we'll find. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. The Patriots, they're looking for a good defense. And they need a good defense. Like, literally, they need a really good defense right now. So, Abdul Carr, he's one of the best edge rushers in the league. So, I pick him to go to the New England Patriots. Number 5 pick in the draft is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they had a really sad year last year. I was hoping that they would go really, really good. I thought they were going to have a really, really good season. Instead, it turned out to be lackluster. In the end, they fired Doug Peterson, which I like Doug Peterson. He's a great coach, but just couldn't do it in Jacksonville in the time they needed. Trevor Lawrence, he's a good quarterback. They're just a mess. They need whatever they can get. But what I think that they're going to get first is a defensive player from Michigan, Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. Now, Will Johnson, he's a great cornerback, but I do think Jacksonville can use a cornerback because they just don't not have they just don't have a good defense right now. And that's why they haven't been able to go far into the season. Their offense can show promise. Their defense just can't chop. They just can't do anything. I think Will Johnson, he's a football magnet. He can pick off footballs constantly. I think Will Johnson, he's going to get picked up at number 5 by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 6, our division foes to the south, the Raiders. Raiders, I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback. I was thinking about a quarterback for pre-scouting combine. Then I decided, let's wait until after this combine and then we're going to see how that goes. I really need someone at the running back spot, and they did not look good at running back. So, guess who's going to go at the number 6 pick? It will be Heisman runner-up, Ashton Jeanty, Jeanty was a great running back. He came this close to breaking Barry Sanders' record, even though I still wouldn't have recognized it because Barry did it in 10 games, and Jeanty did it in 14. So, Jeanty would have done it in 14. But I do think Jeanty is a very, very talented player. He's a good running back. I think the Raiders can use a good running back like him. He's a very stocky kid. I would be, but Jeanty, guess what? If he doesn't go to the Raiders, I'm hoping he comes to Denver because we need a running back. This is a situation between us both, the Raiders and us. So I think Jeanty will get picked up at the number 6 spot. The number 7 pick is the abysmal New York Jets. The Jets, the Aaron Rodgers tenure imploded. Let's just say that. It absolutely imploded on them. And what can you, the Jets are just a mess. And I think that a lot of people thought that Aaron Rodgers would lead them to a Super Bowl. Davante Adams, they recently just released Davante Adams after failing to get a trade deal done for him. And now the Jets are pretty much just starting over. So what I think is the Jets are going to need to draft a quarterback. And I think that I was looking at some of the best performers from this combine. And one name caught my eye that I think everyone has forgotten about. One young man from Ole Miss. I predict it will be none other than a kid from Ole Miss, Jackson Dart. Now, Jackson Dart, he was a great quarterback at Ole Miss. He was just a great player. He was constantly in the Heisman conversation until they imploded at the end of the season and just could not get it done. But that doesn't matter. Jackson Dart he's just a great quarterback. I do think that he's not a Shedeur, he's not a Cam Ward, but he can do what a quarterback can do. So I think that the Jets, if they were to draft him, they just need a good head coach to develop him. And I think that they have a really good head coach. Carolina Panthers, who a couple years ago had the number 1 pick. Listen, I think that the Panthers Bryce Young's a good quarterback, but he needs the weapons around him. I think that they're going to draft a defensive player, and it's going to be edge rusher Mykel Williams, and he is a really, really good edge rusher. Saw that in a couple of the SEC games. Mykel Williams, he's a really good edge rusher. He did really well when he was at the University of Georgia, and Georgia seems to be putting out good players all the time. So I think Mykel Williams, he's a very, very formidable threat. And I think that the Panthers need a good edge rusher right now. So I'm going to say that the Panthers will draft Mykel Williams. The number 9 pick belongs to the New Orleans Saints, who I don't really know what to say. New Orleans, their defense is terrible. Here, let me just name a few things that was wrong with their defense. Their D-line was terrible. Their pass coverage was terrible. Their run defense was terrible. Let's just cut this short. They were overall terrible last year, and you can't really just say anything else other than that. So what I'm going to say is the New Orleans Saints are going to improve that, bolster that D-line by drafting a really good defensive lineman from Michigan University, and it will be Mason Graham. And Mason Graham, he wreaked havoc this year. He's a really, really good defensive lineman. If I was looking for someone to draft for the defensive line position, I would definitely draft Mason Graham. The number 10 pick of the draft belongs to the Chicago Bears. Now, Bears fans, let's be honest. How did last season work out for you guys? I do think Caleb Williams is a good quarterback, and he's going to do well in Chicago. The Bears have been bolstering their offensive line. They got a really good Rams lineman, and they got Joe Thuney, which makes the Chiefs even more vulnerable. They're going to continue upping that offensive line in the draft. I was just sitting and reading sports news the other day, and I said they need to bolster their O-line. And just like I thought, they got those 2 really good offensive linemen, and they're going to get another good offensive lineman this draft. They're going to draft an offensive lineman. He protected Jaden Daniels really well when he was there. I think that the Bears will not be very vulnerable with Will Campbell. This offensive line is all of a sudden a monster O-line, and they're going to be very hard to beat if they get Will Campbell in there with Thuney. Well, there you have it, folks. That is my mock draft top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. My next mock draft will be coming out in, 2 weeks from today, which is the 6th. So March 20th, I will be posting mock draft top 10 2.0. I'll see you then. In the meantime, go check out some of my really good shorts. One of them blew up. You should go check it out right now. I'll see you next time on CSN.